welcome to AFRICUNIA television news updates, bringing you updates from the African scene, the foreign scene and the world of sports. I'm Deborah Ezeh. Many thanks for joining me. Looking into the African scene today, we begin from Nigeria, where former President Olusegun Obasanjo says the regime of the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, has been overwhelmed by insecurity, as evidenced by the bomb attack on a Kaduna-bound train last week. This is just as the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, expressed shock over the bombing of the train. 8 persons were confirmed dead in the attack, while 184 are still unaccounted for. Reacting to the incident, Obasanjo said the development had shown the Nigerians were not safe anywhere, whether on the road, in the train, or at the airport, adding that the country was in a very serious situation. The former president said that the Buhari regime had been overwhelmed by the situation, but urged Nigerians not to allow the situation to overwhelm the country. He also cautioned Nigerians to not allow themselves to be overwhelmed by the security challenges. And still in Nigeria, the federal government's thirst for debt appears to have deepened as new borrowings allocation rose by 278.03% or 4.03 trillion naira between 2015 and 2021. This was disclosed in the presentation of the public debt data as of December 31st by the Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Uniha. According to the document, the new borrowings allocation for 2015 was 1.46 trillion naira, which was 90.17%. The allocation for new borrowings was 5.49 trillion, which was 85.11% of the 6.5 trillion budget deficit. On the source of figures, the document read in part, 2015 comprises 2015 Appropriation Act, supplementary budgets of 575 billion for the same year. 2021 comprises 2021 Appropriation Acts and supplementary budgets of 802 billion naira for the same year. The document further identifies issues around public debt level, including fast-growing debt, high debt service to revenue ratio, and concerns around the use of proceeds from the debt. And now in Angola, thousands of Angolans gathered in the capital Luanda on Sunday to celebrate 20 years since the end of the civil war. Many politicians, including President João Lourenço, participated in the mass. President João Lourenço and his wife, accompanied by Vice President Bonito de Sousa Baltazar, attended a mass. The event brought together politicians both from the government and the opposition. This service is very important, and we must toast our presence with a new commitment to peace, stability and prosperity for all Angolas, said Manuel Fernandez, president of Congolese political coalition. And still on the African scene, the Congolese authorities and the United Nations mission in Congo paid tribute to the 8th peacekeeper killed in an helicopter crash in the Democratic Republic of Congo earlier this week. The crash killed 6 Pakistanis, a Russian and a Serb. The helicopter was on a mission carried out in the North Kivu province in the east of the country, an area where clashes have taken place in recent days between rebels of the M23 movement and the Congolese security. And still in the Democratic Republic of Congo, after fighting between the National Army and M23 rebels erupted earlier this week in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, thousands of Congolese fled to neighboring Uganda. Now Kinshasa is asking them to regain their villages, but people are reluctant, fearing for their lives. UN High Commissioner for Refugees says about 10,000 people have already crossed the border. On top of the 10,000 refugees already in Uganda, according to the UN, about 36,000 civilians have been displaced within the DRC. Now away from that scene onto the foreign scene, Russia's foreign ministry said that footage of dead civilians in the Ukrainian town of Bucha had been ordered by the United States as part of a plot to blame Russia. Zakharova said the immediate Western outcry over the images of dead civilians indicated the story had been part of a plan to sully Russia's reputation. Ukrainian authorities said on Sunday they were investigating possible war crimes by Russia after finding hundreds of bodies, some bound and shot at close range, strewn around town outside the capital Kyiv, after Russian troops withdrew from the area. Russian authorities have said the photographs and footage broadcast from Bucha are a provocative design to disrupt peace talks between Moscow and Kyiv. The Russian Defense Ministry said the images were not a staged performance by the Kyiv regime. And moving on, Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya called for a unity government on Monday to deal with the country's economic crisis, as cabinet ministers and the central bank governor offered to resign, and stock trading was altered twice because of a plunge in share prices. The debt-laden country is struggling to pay for imports of fuel and other goods due to a foreign exchange crisis, leading to hours-long power cuts and a shortage of essentials. While spread street protests have continued despite a weekend curfew. Considering this a national need, the time has come to work together for the sake of all citizens and future generations. The president invites all political parties representing the parliament to come together to assess ministerial portfolios in order to find solutions to this national crisis, Gotabaya Media Office said in a statement. And still on the foreign scene, China has sent the military and thousands of healthcare workers into Shangai to help carry out COVID-19 tests for all its 26 million residents as cases continue to rise on Monday in one of the country's biggest ever public health responses. Some residents woke up before dawn for white-suited healthcare workers to swab their throats as part of nucleic acid testing, as their housing compounds, many queuing up in their pajamas and standing the required 2 meters apart. The People Liberation Army on Sunday dispatched more than 2,000 medical personnel from across the Army, Navy and Joint Logistics Support Forces to Shangai. More than 10,000 health workers from 3 provinces have arrived in Shangai, according to state media reports. We showed them arriving, suitcase-laden and maxed up by high-speed rail and aircraft. And now the surge in state support for Shangai comes as the city is training under the demand of the country's dynamic clearance strategy, with residents complaining of crowded and unsanitary central quarantine centers, as well as difficulties in securing food and essential medical help. Some have begun to question the policies, asking why COVID-positive children are separated from their parents and why mild or symptomatic infections, the majority of Shangai's cases, cannot isolate at home. And moving on to the sports scene, David Ginola believes the current Newcastle team needs to be reshaped from scratch, insisting his former side requires more spirit and creativity following their 5-1 thrashing at Tottenham. Newcastle took the lead in North London on Sunday before Spurs ran riot to move into the top 4 and deal their opponents a 3rd consecutive Premier League defeat. The Magpies have significantly improved under head coach Adeboye and still find themselves 9 points above relegation. But Ginola, who made 76 appearances for the club from 1995 until 1997, thinks they need to entirely rethink their strategy. And finally, Gary Neville believes Manchester United's happy draw with Leicester signaled an end to their flickering hopes for qualifying for next season's Champions League. Neville, in the commentary box for a 1-1 draw which kept United in 6th, says his old club would like to get to the end of the season as swiftly as possible, but their forthcoming fixtures mean they will not be able to go under the radar, with games against Everton, Liverpool and Chelsea ensuring there is no hiding place for Ralph Rangnick's side. United struggled for fluency throughout and are now 4 points behind 4th place Arsenal, having played 2 games more, and in serious danger of failing to secure a Champions League spot next season. And it's a wrap on news updates on AFRICUNIA television. Do stay connected and updated to our news and other programs. Follow all our social media platforms on Joy2, Pangram, Instagram and Facebook in that respective order. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and leave a comment for us on the comment section. Once again, I am Deborah Ezeh. Bye for now.